Dear PlayStation, my grandma won't stop watching Blu-ray movies on my PS3.
When the PlayStation 3 was released, it kind of fell flat on its face. The price it launched was a shock to many gamers. Even though it really did everything, the price made it stumble right out of the start gate. In the end, this console was one of the best ever. A large game library, online play, Blu-ray DVD player, and support for streaming services locked the PlayStation 3's ultimate success. Even if Sony had to remove PlayStation 2 compatibility to make it a little bit less expensive, if you are thinking about getting into the PlayStation 3, I have some games that I suggest you add to your library to give you a good start. These are not necessarily my favorite PlayStation 3 games, but they are inexpensive, accessible, and will provide a variety of gameplay and lots of fun. Let's get right to the list. When Killzone was released for the PlayStation 2, it was hyped as the answer to Halo. It didn't live up to the hype. The gameplay was slow, and it was kind of janky controls, if you would say. The follow-up to it, Killzone 2, was released for the PlayStation 3, and it was a much better first-person shooter experience. The action was faster and more intense. It featured large battles and missions where you need to reach your objectives on your own. The story is simple, yet works for the game. You play as an ISA soldier invading the home planet of the Helgen. You get to use a variety of weapons and vehicles as you move through the enemy's war-torn capital city. The game escalates as you storm the Helgen dictator's palace in an intense, long-shot battle. Even if you are not a big fan of first-person shooters, Killzone 2 is a very enjoyable PlayStation 3 experience. My next suggestion is the first game I purchased for the PlayStation 3. In fact, Dante's Inferno was the reason I finally bought a PlayStation 3. The game is loosely based on the Divine Comedy by Dante Alighieri. Each circle of hell is depicted in a way that represents the sins of those condemned to that circle. Likewise, the enemies and bosses take inspiration from the poem. The gameplay is similar to God of War, with some important differences. Your main weapon is Death's Scythe, and your secondary weapon is your wife's cross, which allows Dante to use holy magic on his enemies. These weapons never change during the game. You collect points from fountains and defeating enemies. These points are used to unlock various combos and abilities on 2 skill trees Dante has available. In order to unlock higher levels on each tree, Dante can either condemn or absolve the souls of enemies. You will also encounter the souls of historic figures in your journey through hell. Either condemning or absolving these souls will also count towards unlocking new levels in your skill trees. It all may seem confusing, but once you have started playing, you will appreciate how all the pieces fit together to give you some control over how Dante grows and develops his skills. Dante's Inferno has been underrated since its release. I think it still holds up, and I think it is a must for anyone getting into the PlayStation 3 library. When I was playing it to capture some footage for this video, I had a hard time putting it down after I had enough footage. In fact, I've been playing it for the last couple days since. This game is truly awesome, and I forgot how good it is and how well it stood up. It is hard to imagine, but my next pick was actually released on the PlayStation 3 when it first came out. Since then, Skyrim has been released for every system imaginable. I'm actually surprised I can't play it on my car's rear camera display. I am including Skyrim on this list because of the open world, tons of quests, variety of factions, and the varied character development options. You'll be able to get all the DLC for this game on the PlayStation 3. The only drawback, really, is the absence of mods, but the vanilla game still gives you plenty to do. There are other RPGs for the PlayStation 3, but many are starting to climb in price, or just maybe getting harder to find. Either way, sharpen your axe and show Alduin why they call you the Dragonborn. This game still holds up and still played today by a lot of people. In fact, there are channels on YouTube dedicated just to Skyrim, and they're still going today with new content. So pick up a copy of Skyrim. It's probably the cheapest game on this list. You could probably get a copy for $5, and that would probably include all the DLCs packed in with the game. The fourth suggestion on my list takes us on a journey beneath the waves to the spectacular utopia known as Rapture. BioShock is a mix of horror, science fiction, and first-person shooter. From the moment you arrive in Rapture, you know something is very wrong. The ruined corridors are littered with the bodies of citizens, and those who are still alive attack you in a crazed frenzy. The environment and story work together to pull you forward. Both are a compelling backdrop to the gameplay that BioShock offers. On the subject of gameplay, BioShock is like first-person shooter with a twist. In addition to your firearms, your character is able to enhance himself genetically to boost abilities and even gain new ones to attack your enemies with. These magic-like abilities are fueled by Eve, a substance unique to Rapture that the player injects to recharge. These abilities are wide-ranging and add a lot of variety to BioShock. It is a must-play game for the PlayStation 3. It's been re-released for PlayStation 4. Go ahead and try to play it on that as well. You won't be disappointed in this game. In fact, just like Dante's Inferno, I had a hard time putting this one down even after capturing the gameplay I wanted. I'm going to go back to this game really soon as I'm done finishing Dante's Inferno, because this is a really compelling game. It was a lot of fun to play the first time through, and I'm really looking forward to playing it again. Finally, I am suggesting one of my all-time favorites to round out this list. Uncharted 2 is the topic of what makes this game great, and for good reason. Visit exotic locations in an adventure bigger than Indiana Jones. Fight armed mercenaries, solve complex riddles, and unlock ancient secrets in this larger-than-life game. Uncharted 2 has great graphics, epic music, memorable characters, and fun gameplay. Take control of Nathan Drake as he makes his way through war-torn urban wastelands, lush jungles, snow-capped mountains by way of parkour, train, plane, and boat. For anyone new to the PlayStation 3, Uncharted 2 will add a lot of hours of gaming fun. In addition to the main storyline, this game also has a lot of hidden treasures in it. Try finding all the hidden treasures, and you'll be rewarded with additional lore and, of course, more trophies. And even if you don't have a PlayStation 3, you can still play this game on PlayStation 4 through I think it's called the Nathan Drake Collection. That has Uncharted 1, 2, and 3 on it. So give this game a try, whether or not you're getting into the PlayStation 3 collection, or if you just want to play it on PlayStation 4. It's well worth it. Trust me on that. So, what did you think of my list? Did I leave any games out? I know it's only 5 games out of the massive library that PlayStation 3 offers, but what games do you think would make sense to put on this list? What games would you like to see? Did I put one on here that shouldn't have been on here? That did not deserve to be on here? Let me know in the comments. I'm really actually very, very curious as to what people think about, various games and various game experiences on the PlayStation 3. It's one of my favorite consoles, and always will be one of my favorite consoles. There's a lot of reason to love the PlayStation 3. First of all, it was the last one where you didn't have to buy the online support. Now, the online support is no longer there, but you could play games online without having to purchase a PlayStation Plus membership. That was the only console that you had that option for. Also, it was the last game console, last game generation, before you really got into these microtransactions, heavy into them. So, the PlayStation 3 was a really great console. Take a look at it if you haven't already, and if you have and are watching this, I hope that, this piques your interest on some of these games, especially Dante's Inferno, which I said has been underrated ever since it was released. Anyway, I want to say thank you to all my subscribers. I really do appreciate you subscribing to the channel. I hope you like the content and continue to like the content. And thank you very much for watching this video today. Have a wonderful day. See you in the next video.